Aloha class. Today we're taking a look at a little bit further implications and further nuances on Indian music, and this presentation is entitled Repression and Expression in Music, South India and the Hindi Worldview. Now, this idea of repression and expression has been discussed in several contexts before. I'm not sure if we use that same language, but for instance, in Hawaii, we discussed how the missionaries repressed or suppressed certain cultural expressions that they considered to be too heathen, too uncivilized. You know, remember those ethnocentric terms and those hegemonic terms. So that idea is also carrying over into Indian music, but instead of being an outside Western colonizer, it's some of the ideological infiltration of the Islamic culture playing a difference or creating a difference in North India and South India. So we have ideas about musical practices as affected by religious views. And again, we saw that with Christian missionaries, Protestant missionaries in Polynesia, in North America, and we're starting to see a pattern here. So in this region, in North India, there are many Islamic ideological influences on traditional Hindu ideology. And that led to conservative views on performing arts, especially music and dance. And some of this might sound familiar from other cultures. The Islamic view is that music is very, very powerful, and it can inspire people to great good or great evil, to inspire them to get in touch with their higher, nobler nature or to get in touch with their baser nature. So there's a danger of being too sensual or debasing in their minds if it's used improperly in a secular context for entertainment and recreation. And that doesn't mean that they didn't use it for entertainment and recreation, but a very specialized professional guild was in charge of, quote, handling the music or the power of music properly. So feelings that, generally speaking, music is better used for sacred purposes, to enlighten and ennoble rather than to merely entertain. So the effect of Islam-influenced philosophy of art in North India is that folk music was discouraged. And just like in Hawaii, they were not successful in eradicating it altogether, but it was discouraged. Amateur music making was discouraged. And the development of professional music guilds was important to teach them how to properly handle music's affective powers. And that resulted in some exclusivity and secrecy in transmission of performance traditions. And in that type of system, family lineages were stressed. There would be families of traditional musicians. And the art music tradition dominated for a long time. As I said, there was folk music, traditional music as well, but art music dominated in this mindset. Let's take a look at one of these examples. Now in this video, you're going to see a woman named Amy Matuszewski, and I promise you that is not an Indian surname. It is Polish-American. A very typical thing that happens where Americans, other Westerners, become very enamored of these non-Western traditions. You might call them wannabes, but they immerse themselves in those traditions and try to learn as much about them as they can. And frankly, this video was shorter and more concise than anything that an indigenous musician has put out on YouTube. So I chose this one, and it's just a 2-minute introduction to the concepts of Indian classical singing.
Hello, I'm Amy Matuszewski, and this lesson is the introduction to Hindustani voice, or Hindustani vocal music. In the music of India, we believe that vocal music is the source of anything else that you might play. It all begins from the voice. And the voice connects with the nad, which is the cosmic sound of the universe, which is a mystical phenomenon. So when we sing Sa or Om, we are actually becoming one with a force that's much greater than we are. Many singers begin their performance with Om for Sa, or the first note. Sa is like Do in the Western scale. And what I've just done is sing for you something like a major scale, which is there in Indian music as well. And you may have noticed that the difference is in the voice production and the connectedness of the notes. Sa, they're all flowing from one to another, and we sing in a slightly more nasal way, and we use our voice in a way that's quite close to our spoken voice.
Okay, you can contrast that short demo, specifically made up for a YouTube demonstration, with this clip from a classic Bollywood movie. Now, this is old school. Doesn't give me a date, but it's looking like 1940s. And at that time, there was more classically oriented music in Indian movies than you see now. Of course, now it's very much infused with Western pop culture, and the music reflects that. But here, I love this demonstration because it's very succinct, very short, and you could think of this as maybe coming in about halfway through a typical Indian presentation, so it's already in the midsection that's speeding up and getting a little busier, a little thicker in the texture, and then you can notice from there getting even faster, getting even busier, more rhythmically complex. Now, this timbre is something that the contemporary westernized ear has to get used to, but you can hear some tremendous vocal ornamentation there, and I hope you can appreciate that on that level. Now, what's happening in the actual movie with the cutaways to the different actors and what their facial expressions are and what's going on in this scene is not at all clear. That's not important. We just want to zero in on the singing style and the drone that you hear and the interplay between the tabla drums and the singer. Now, it'll be interesting as we go along to see if your ears can really pick up a discernible difference in the way North Indian musicians and South Indian musicians approach traditional music. But in South India, as I mentioned in the previous presentation, there's a more orthodox Hinduism. It's mostly free of Islamic influence. So we have much more open and inclusive views about music making, amateur music making or avocational music making as a hobby was encouraged, as well as the existence in South India of professional guilds as well as in the North. We have dominant folk music traditions in South India, but with a coexisting art music repertory. Much more evenly balanced, I'd say, in the South. Now, as a video demo, we're going to begin watching at the 4-minute mark. Now, when we get into this video, you're going to hear the voiceover in an Indian dialect, but hang in there because a little while later here, not too long, we're going to get some English subtitles on the screen, so you'll be able to tell what's going on. So zero in on the music, and the times when the player is explaining things, you'll have English subtitles.
संगीत उत्पन्न करने के लिए बाएं हाथ की उंगलियों का इस्तेमाल करता है। वीणा वादन के लिए इस तरह की शैली अतीत में भी रही थी और इस समय भी इसी शैली का अनुसरण किया जा रहा है। गुरु शिष्य परंपरा के माध्यम से गुरु अपने शिष्य को वीणा वादन की शैलियों की जानकारी देते थे। वीणा वादन के लिए अंगुली चालन के बाद जरूरी है समस्वरण यानी ट्यूनिंग और सारी का विन्यास।
रुद्र वीणा को जो वज्रासन में हम इसको बजाते हैं, उसमें हम कंधे पे रखते हैं और उसके बाद फिर ये हमारा जो अंगूठा जो होता है वो डांड के नीचे आ जाता है, जैसे सितार में आता है, और ये अंगूठा हमारा इधर आ जाता है, तोंबे जहाँ तोंबा लगा होता है उसके ऊपर आ जाता है। और इसको बजाने का तरीका है कि आप प्रेस करते हैं जहाँ पर ये सारिका है वहाँ पर। तो रुद्र वीणा को बजाने का तरीका 3 उंगलियों से है, पहली, दूसरी और ये तीसरी। इसको भी हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं, डागर परंपरा में करते हैं, वो इसलिए क्योंकि थोड़ा पोजीशन हमारा जब नीचे बैठने का होता है वो अलग हो जाता है, इसकी वजह से हम ये वाली उंगली भी इस्तेमाल करते हैं। स्पेशली हमको जब बास स्ट्रिंग्स करना था क्योंकि उसमें रीच हमारी आसान हो जाती है। तो लेकिन बाकी सब परंपराओं में रुद्र वीणा को बजाने का तरीका यही है। और हम लोग जो बेसिक बजाते हैं वो यही है, डाड़ा 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 डाड़ा, और इसमें जैसे डाड़ा 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 डाडड़ डाड़ा डाडड़ डाड़ा, तो इसमें दारा दारा जिस तरह से होता है उसमें सितार में होता है, उसी तरह से इसमें डाड़ा डाड़ा होता है। और ये चिकारी होती चिक, डाड़ा डा चिक डाड़ा डा चिक डाडड़ डाड़ा डाडड़ डा चिक। तो इस तरह से बहुत मिजराब के इसके जो है आपके पैटर्न्स होते हैं जो खानदानी भी हैं और लोग बजाते भी हैं।
वीणा ट्यूनिंग की जो शैली आज स्थापित है वो हमें अतीत से विरासत में मिली है। ट्यूनिंग के लिए 3 शैलियां मुख्य रूप से प्रयोग में लाई जाती हैं, मतलब शुद्ध मेल वीणा, मध्य मेल वीणा और अच्युतराय मेल वीणा। इसी प्रकार सारी का विन्यास यानी वीणा के फ्रेटिंग की शैलियों का विकास बहुत पहले हुआ। फ्रेटिंग के लिए आज भी उसी शैली का अनुसरण किया जा रहा है। फ्रेटिंग ऐसी शैली है जिसे समझने के लिए वीणा वादक को वीणा की तारों की स्थितियों की जानकारी बेहद जरूरी है। यदि आप तारों की स्थितियों से परिचित हैं, तो इस शैली से आप अधिक स्वर हासिल कर सकते हैं। वीणा वादन और उसके विकास की कई अवस्थाएं सामने आईं। खुले तार वाली वीणा से लेकर दंड और तुम्बे वाली वीणा तक का विकास हुआ, जिस पर एक ही तार पर सभी स्वर उत्पन्न किए जा सकते थे। सही मायने में ये एक बहुत बड़ी सफलता थी। वीणा वादन के लिए नथी शब्द का प्रयोग किया गया है, जिसे हम मिजराब कहते हैं।
Musicians in the next example look familiar. This is a multi-part video put up on YouTube, and you get to see a little bit more of the mridangam drumming and enjoy the rhythmic complexity that one player can make. You might recall the Tahitian drumming and the Cook Islands drumming and rhythmic complexity that resulted from multiple players. And of course, in traditional African music and things that have come through the African American tradition, there are other ways of producing rhythmic complexity. But in those traditions, generally you don't see this level of rhythmic complexity come from a single player. I really admire these Indian drummers for their ability to create this kind of complexity, this kind of nuance as a solo player.